My name is Daniel, and I'm just a casual racer. And today we're in Assetto Corsa, but I want to talk primarily about Assetto Corsa Evo. And so our Portugal Openworld project, as I kind of mentioned in our last video, will be coming to Assetto Corsa Evo once that early access period begins to end. They start adding the modding tools. Then we're going to be working to bring our project into, develop it further. Right now it's in Assetto Corsa. We're going to develop it further into Assetto Corsa Evo. Well, one of the things I want to talk about in this video, though, is we have some tools that have been developed by third parties and amazing creators, and such as custom shaders patch and the traffic planner tool, which allows us to do incredible open world projects like this with realistic traffic, things like that. For example, with the cars, we've customized and optimized a traffic pack so that'll run really well and be low poly and just have a great performance on our servers and for everyone to enjoy. And that's what you're going to see here when I drive past them, although right now the road's a little bit empty, but we'll get to some traffic here shortly. And so that's one thing that, for example, with Assetto Corsa Evo, having them develop a traffic AI system, there could be a lot of improvements that could be made. For example, a more realistic AI behavior around junctions, with AI traffic lights and things like that. That could definitely be developed further. An ability to have perhaps AI that is actually kind of dynamic. Right now, obviously, they're not going to pass each other on the road, but that could be something. AI police, AI that maybe are traveling from one place on the map to another, doing dynamic missions or things like that. Perhaps you have a delivery driver, AI car that's going to be going around and just randomly stopping at kind of like business locations, or you could even have like postal service, things like that. That would be really immersive and add kind of that life into the map. And so those are features that I hope Kunos would consider and bring to the Assetto Corsa Evo project that we could utilize. We squeeze around the traffic here. They were stopped for some reason there. You'll notice one thing too, the cars were kind of near the edge of the road, a lot of the AI traffic, and that is because we have actually narrowed the road. We've listened to your feedback. We're narrowing the roads up, and obviously we haven't quite got to the AI yet to make that adjustment, but that will be something that we do as well. We'll have to rework the AI so that then they stick within their lanes. And we haven't done every part of the track narrowed or every part of the world yet. It's 142 kilometers right now of road that we've laid, but we'll get to it. Look at that view right there, the expansive city out in the distance. It's one thing we've done is put some kind of placeholder buildings that aren't very detailed but look incredible from a distance out into the cities, and then we'll slowly replace and also add details to those areas as we continue to develop this project. So really cool stuff. And that's one thing too, right? Talking about building generation, I know that they've mentioned that they're going to use some sort of generation tools with their new open world project, which I believe the base map will be set in Germany from what I've understand and deduced. And so if we're, what would be useful for us? Well, we are going to have most of the map completed within Assetto Corsa. So for us, what features that they could bring might be a little bit different than the features that we might need, for example, for a custom built map that could be useful. For example, see these power lines here. If we're going to be custom building a map for Assetto Corsa Evo, it'd be really cool if Creation Tools had the ability to where you're placing the roads down, but then also you could place, have power lines, or you could have a set distance for certain tracks, roadside details appearing, such as signs and things like that. And so it would just speed up the initial production, and you'd have those details there, and then you could go in and ungroup the various items and make any individual adjustments you need, perhaps junctions for the wires or various other modifications, custom signs, things like that. You can go in, but it would definitely speed up the creation process. So something like that would be fantastic if Kunos was to include that for people building from scratch. For our purposes, obviously that isn't going to be a huge deal, but for example, I'm sure they're going to have an improved foliage system, or definitely a different one than what's being used currently with custom shaders patch and tree effects and grass effects and stuff. And so having tools like that can help place grass realistically, perhaps even if someone is bringing in a project like this from Assetto Corsa that can recognize, okay, this is a, whoa, bump in the road there. They can recognize, okay, this is a, grass FX here, so we'll replace it with our new grass system, whatever it could be, like Ace Grass, or whatever they want to call it. And yeah, I think that would be a really great feature as well Another thing that I really look forward to seeing as we squeeze there through some traffic there, another thing that would be really great is certain like texturing tools, things that could help with either texturing buildings. One thing within Assetto Corsa that I think it really lacks some of the detail is sometimes the buildings. It can be quite tricky to get them to the same level, and so hopefully there's some better shaders as well as just some ways that we can apply textures more creatively to really bring them into that next generation visually. We've done our best to do, create realistic looking buildings here, as you'll see in the houses on the right. We've got really high quality textures on these walls, for example, that we just passed by, that I think help to bring life into it, and depending on the lighting and things like that, it can look really good in the latest versions of Assetto Corsa with custom shaders patch and pure. But at the same time, Assetto Corsa Evo could definitely have tools that could take that even further and into the next level. So really excited to see stuff like that present in the game. And as I mentioned, I mean, the big thing is we are going to be developing this map for Assetto Corsa Evo. So we're going to bring it to Assetto Corsa, and then we're going to develop it even further for Assetto Corsa Evo. And all the new tools, all the new features, and the visual updates, we're not just going to port this over at a low level. I want to make that very clear. We are going to be developing this map, redeveloping this map with new assets if need be to match the quality. We want this Portugal Openworld project to be an incredible experience, whether you're whatever game you're in that has it within that. For example, we've had a few other studios reach out with interest regarding the Portugal project. So if this map does end up in another game, for example, we would want that experience to match the quality that's expected to be delivered within that game engine and that specific game simulation. Run along the coast here. I pass some traffic. There's a lighthouse in the distance. We'll fly past here in a little bit. I want to get up into the city before I end this video so you can get a look at what we've kind of done with some of those generated, not generated, but generic assets. See here, there's the lighthouse up here on the right. Fly through traffic. This part of the map, the track is still, this road is still wide, and you'll notice that compared to where we've widened it, or narrowed it, narrowed the road width earlier up on the hills. Now that we're down here by the coast, this is the original width of the road. You'll notice the AI fits on it a lot better, but we are definitely going to make both work. We'll get the AI to fit just fine on the tighter roads, and it's going to be incredible for all of you. Another thing that would be really cool to see in Assetto Corsa Evo, might as well bring up, is we're developing custom game modes. We're delivering a delivery driver mode. We're gonna have traffic rush servers, racing servers, hopefully. And so if we can have the ability to have some of those game modes built in, perhaps, to the game, or at least it's easy way. I know Assetto Corsa didn't necessarily, I don't believe, support like Lua coded apps. So if there's a way to kind of have even more customizability and support in the way of creating like new game modes or new sub-applications that can load up within a map like this, that'd be really cool. It'd be really cool too. Let's say you had a phone. This is one thing I think that would be really awesome within Assetto Corsa Evo, is if you have the option for like a little more individual control of the driver. I'm not saying you necessarily have to get out and walk around, but it'd be really cool if maybe you could pull up a function where they pull up like your personal cell phone, and when you like hop between vehicles, you still have that same phone, so you could have missions or whatever, but you could go back to your garage and be like, mid-mission, I want to switch to a different car or whatever, and your missions and things are going to stay on your cell phone, but you can swap between different cars. I guess those could also load into your display or whatever. The one issue you might have there, though, what if I want to jump in a vintage car or whatever? And with me being over at Historic Sim Studios, that's obviously something kind of close to my heart, because I would want to drive, vintage cars too, to make deliveries and stuff and participate in game modes and not have to worry about having to have like, a car that supports, a nice digital heads-up display or whatever. I'm sure there's going to be some really cool features, but I think something like that where the drivers or your character had a cell phone that you could run missions on, or something like that, a smartwatch, would be really cool and really tie into your sense in a place of a world. Give a little more of an RPG factor in playing the game, and really give us a lot of opportunities within Assetto Corsa Evo to take the Portugal Open World project to just entirely new heights, entirely new levels of immersion and really create a simulation grade, I don't know, Need for Speed, simulation grade RPG racing, simulation driving experience that extends beyond the pure simulation of the car, but rather also the simulation of driving within an immersive and realistic open world. And that's what we really want to deliver with the Portugal Openworld project. And I'm really excited to see what Assetto Corsa Evo will allow us to deliver and what potential will be untapped with it. You can see here we're driving along the coast now. We've got some more buildings. You can see a lot of these, some of these don't really have even any textures or faces to them, but you can just see the potential we're going to have here once this all gets filled in, how alive that this city is going to feel, how dense, how many details. And this is why the Kickstarter is so important. It's live right now. Go down in the video description and you can click and you can help support. If you can't give anything monetarily, you can still help us support us by helping us grow our social media platforms, because that just gets more exposure for what we're doing and in turn helps the benefit the success of this project. And so any way that you can help is greatly appreciated. We have so much work to do, and we're going to need to pay our guys that we currently have more so they can work more hours, but then also bring on new staff, new contractors, new 3D artists, and really bring these empty-faced buildings to life with incredible detail. And we really just want to make this one of the most immersive and incredible simulation open world experiences that have ever been created across sim racing. So thanks so much for your support. Please check out that link and consider supporting us in some manner, whether through social media or, of course, be amazing if you guys could consider giving a little bit something to this project. But most of all, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week.